Howard Hughes, in the Aviator movie, was harassed by a senator who had been lobbying to pass laws in favor of one airline, which would give them a monopoly on international travel. The government raided Howard Hughes' businesses, confiscated all his files, and Mr. Hughes was taken into some hearings and questioned about his business practices, such as wining and dining and otherwise bribing government officials for government contracts. And he said, "You make the laws. If you make a law against it, I'll be happy to abide by it. Everybody does it." Donald Trump, in the 2016 presidential debate, when questioned by Hillary Clinton about his several past bankruptcies and legal avoidance of taxes, he said, "You make the laws." What's interesting is, even Bill Clinton, as president on national television, encouraged everyone to do everything they can to legally avoid paying taxes, because there's a big difference between legal avoidance and tax evasion. So it's interesting that Hillary would even try to use it against Donald Trump in their debate, after all the money her and Bill have funneled into their tax shelter charity foundation, which shelters have long been known as tax avoidance tools, especially for the super wealthy. Just look at the John D. Rockefeller Foundation, set up to make him look like a humanitarian and philanthropist, but hasn't given much more than throwing us a bone when you consider the overall history, including Standard Oil Trust. And it's interesting that as an agent for the Rothschilds, who were Jewish, John D. Rockefeller being Presbyterian, and Joe Kennedy, who was Catholic, who was JFK's father, who was a United States ambassador to the United Kingdom, they came together to set up the First and Second Baptist churches in Metropolitan New York, right before they set up the Fed. After the Fed was put into play, then they used the IRS as their collection agency, but they already had their loophole. And in a way, they just created yet another way of collecting taxes in the form of tithing. And they did it with one of the easiest qualifiers religion has ever thought up. Just confess that you believe and you're saved. Because the Baptist community has such a strong focus on grace, they have helped show the rest of the world the beauty of the grace of Christ's atonement to pay the price of sin. And the Baptist community has some of the greatest people out there. You can find both sides, the duality, in every lineage that has ever existed. The laws of empowerment hit every individual and organization across the board all the same, just like God is no respecter of persons. When God shows up, he catches us where we've been wrong as well as where we've been right. Every organization, every person, all the same. The more we understand the laws of empowerment, the easier it is for all of us to see through all the lies and false paths for what they are. Abuse can no longer hide behind government, not even behind a badge. Abuse can no longer hide behind the church, not even the name of Jesus Christ. It doesn't belong anywhere. And with the help of this program, abuse will be shaken out of every area of our lives much faster than what most people may think. With the two great commandments, to love God and love our neighbor, how can we really love God unless we love our neighbor? Christ did the best he could to simplify everything for people who just wanted it in simplicity, and said all the other laws hinge off of these two great commandments. And what have we done? Argued about how to love God, what the nature of God is, and we've missed the point completely. My father and I have always found a lot of support from all types of diverse churches and peoples. We've made friends everywhere, including in the Amish and Mennonite communities, who have wonderfully tight-knit cultures because we have empowered every group with so much knowledge about how God made the body. Just take a deep breath and think. Negate, neutralize, and eliminate any hate and anger from and for any and all groups and lineages, and replace it with peace, love, and joy for all. We're here to help heal, unite, and gather people together based on the true understanding of who we all are and how things really work. And from the government's perspective on charities, government has recognized the efforts of people in their communities who truly are charitable and compassionate as knowing what the needs of their communities are and as having the ability to help their communities much, much more than the government has ever been able to. So while too many charitable organizations and even churches are guilty of actually being parasitic in some ways, many provide vital support to the people they serve. Duality. Laws determine the behavior of people, even the wealthy. Legislated acts of men, unregulated, don't help determine behavior very well. They don't do much other than eventually train people that they are worthless, which just adds to chaos. Chaos is what you end up with when rules are neglected, or not important, or they've been buried deep in red tape, or buried by other legislated acts of men, which aren't based on any laws of nature, but created by our actual adversaries, such as the parasitic elite who can buy politicians, who in turn write their legislated acts. A quote from Mayor Amshel Rothschild: "Permit me issue and control the money of a nation, and I care not who makes its laws." And that's because they can be bought. Have you ever heard the term becoming a law unto yourself? It's wrong. It's a bad thing, right? That's because people who do this are justifying negative behavior. It's justifying lower choices for the dark side of intelligence and power. It's about control and greed. And we're basically disrupting other people's peace when we're justifying our behavior like that, because we're out of alignment with the laws of nature. Now, when you're in alignment with the laws of peace, you can never be a law unto yourself. Being a law unto yourself is always only if and when you're out of alignment with the laws of peace. Both laws of society and personal, when it's breaking the laws of peace of others, it's unto themselves when it's based in lower consciousness.